Hello, everyone. I am Michelle Tennant Nicholson. I am the Chief Creative Officer of Wasabi Publicity, the co-founder of PitchRate.com. And what I do for a living is I'm an international publicist. And what that means is I actually put people on the front page of the Wall Street Journal, or I create a media partnership with the Oprah Winfrey Network. These are the things that I've been doing for 3 decades. And what we're doing in this series is actually pulling back the Wizard of Oz curtain so you can see behind the scenes to see what I'm actually doing on a day-to-day basis, so you can borrow or steal those ideas and do them too. In particular, we want to make sure that we're talking to the difference makers. So if you're making a difference with your community, with what you're writing, with the business or nonprofit that you have, then you can actually be in the news cycle. And so that's what we're doing in this 6-part series. If you found yourself for the first time with this particular video, you're smack dab in the middle of a process that's part of our 21-day PR action guide workbook. You can find this workbook on wherever books are sold, but during the pandemic, we're actually giving it away for free, no cost, no opt-in even, at pitchrate.com. My co-host, Hannah Collison, who you can email at hannah@wasabipublicity.com, is actually going to be putting things in the chat room so that you can actually see the links and so forth. If you're joining us on the internet and you're not part of the series or you can't see the chat room, then all of the links are at my blog, storytellertothemedia.com. 2 is spelled out, T-O, storytellertothemedia.com. Or you can go to my Twitter account at Michelle Tennant, 2 L's in Michelle, and Tennant is Tennant. All right, now that we've oriented ourselves on where we are in the world and what we're talking about, we're right in the middle of this workbook. We're talking about pitches. So in today's session, at the end, I have a press opportunity for you. I actually have a placement for everybody. And that's even you on the internet if you're seeing this at a later time. So you got to wait through the whole series today, though, to get that opportunity. I know I haven't really done like the hard sells yet in the series, right? And it's not even something for money. It's completely free, but it's actually part of one of the things that I'm generating. So if you're interested in that, stay on at the end, okay? Now the big reveal. So before I reveal everything, though, I want everybody to have a beginner's mind. What do I mean by beginner's mind? So one thing I know about adults from my master's degree in human development is that you're not paying attention unless you're talking. So feels like a breakout session right now, Hannah. So we're going to break and we're just going to have about 4 minutes for you to talk about how can you bring a beginner's mind to today. And if you're like, I've never heard that before, it's letting go of your know-it-all. So how can you actually put yourself back into being a kid and approaching this like you don't know anything? Maybe you don't know anything and you're like, that's why I'm here. But maybe you know a lot and you think that you disagree with what I'm saying all the time because I do it this way. I do it. That's how I live life, by the way. If you're like, I never do that. I know what a know-it-all is because I've had to get in touch with my little know-it-all because my know-it-all actually prevents a lot of opportunity in my life. But before I go into the rest of the session, let's do a breakout and talk about how you will bring a beginner's mind to today. So we've just come back from a breakout session where people have been discussing what it means to have a beginner's mind. What does it mean to come at something as a lifelong learner, as David was talking about in my breakout session? And so, and then also we were talking about, Alexis was talking about taking the right action, like knowing what to do at the right time. So I think that that's really a good conversation for me, bringing a beginner's mind, because I sometimes forget what it means to come at PR as a novice. So I'm also listening for what questions do you have and what's new and fresh in your world. Just because I know something, it doesn't mean that it's going to make a difference for you. And remember, as I'm with you modeling behavior, I want you to notice that it's the exact same behavior that you'll have with press people. You don't want to actually approach the press like they're like, you know what they're going to cover. You think that you might have an idea or you want to have a conversation, but it's actually a discovery between you. So I want you to be thinking about also your online press kit, your media materials, your electronic press kit. I want you to be thinking about these materials that you send to the press, to the media, as something that's fluid. It's not static. Your book is more static than your media materials. What's interesting is that David said in our breakout session, he's like, you know, you spend more time actually promoting your book than you do writing your book. Right? And I was like, that's true. That's true. So, and sometimes it's a little, you know, you're so focused in writing your book. By the way, I will have you all know, one of the things I told Clayton, I promised Clayton, we'll introduce him in just a second, that I would write my own memoir because most of you are nonfiction authors. And I thought it's about time in my life at the age of 51 that I get that memoir written that I've been wanting to write for 30 years. Right. And you all were like, yay. I wrote it in a week at the end of December. It's done. It's complete. It's called the Dairy Princess Chronicles. Diamonds in a Rhinestone World. So be on the lookout for that sometime in the future when I get that published. I have like, if you know, there's a lot of steps that happen before you get a book to the market, right? Clayton's done that work. Clayton has done all that work and he has a book that to share with the world. So let's introduce Clayton right before we introduce his press kit. Clayton, want to unmute yourself and tell everybody.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
Good, really good. Are you excited?
Yeah, I still got a lot of butterflies.
I already have an opportunity for you. I'm going to tell you at the end. It's also for you, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so we know for sure we've got at least one placement, but that's not, you know, we're still going to go for I can control the placement that you're going to have, right? But I also want to get you in other news cycles for people that are controlling their content and getting you integrated with that. So right now, if you want to tell us a little bit about your book for those people who might be joining us who have never heard of the other series or heard about you before, let's start getting you to practice your pitch, Clayton. So there you are with Oprah talking to her on a plane. You're about to both deplane, right? We did that in the little exercise when we were doing the client intake call mock. And I asked Clayton, well, you have 45 seconds to impress Oprah on the plane as you're walking off the plane. What do you say? So Clayton, you want to practice that again?
Okay, I guess you're Oprah, right?
I'm Oprah. Hi, Oprah. Yeah. Hi, Clayton. What's your claim to fame?
How you doing, Oprah? Hi, Oprah. I'm a retired police officer. And, you know, like you, my goal is to really touch a lot of people's lives in a book I have coming out pretty soon.
Okay. And what is that?
Well, the title of the book is called Good Cop, Black Cop, Guilty to Proven Innocent. And basically it's, you know, my story through basically being the first Black police officer hired in small town white America and the trials and tribulations I went through, even, you know, getting divorced, losing my job. And just when you know, think everything else was, you know, going bad, that's just when everything takes off. And so, you know, hopefully it's going to touch a lot of people's lives. And again, what I want to do is use that book to make a difference.
I think that the title alone will have her stand up. If you all agree, do this or give us a thumbs up or something like that. I think it's a very powerful title and something that you should be very proud of. I want to ask Stephanie also to unmute herself. And Stephanie, for those that are just joining new or haven't seen our previous videos in this series, please just quickly introduce yourself and why you're here.
Yeah, thank you. It's great to see the audience growing here. I'm Stephanie Chandler. I am founder and CEO of the Nonfiction Authors Association and Writers Conference. And I also am a hybrid book publisher, so with authoritypublishing.com. And Kristen Iris is here in our group as well. And she brought Clayton to me and she said, he's just one of my favorite clients ever. He's written an amazing book. We need your help getting it published. And I met with Clayton. I fell in love with him immediately. He's a teddy bear. He's a wonderful human. I like to try to make him blush a little bit. And then I reached out to Michelle and Drew at Wasabi and I said, do you guys ever do any kinds of pro bono PR? This is a story that needs to be told. And Clayton has a lot of good things to bring to the world. And that's really why I do what I do. And so I was so beyond excited when Michelle and Drew said, yes, let's do it. Let's make it a case study. We'll bring everyone along for the ride. And I just have been really enjoying hearing everybody's feedback. Clayton, I don't even think you realize how much you're inspiring everybody here, and they're learning from you and your story, and you're helping remove jitters for other people who are embarking on their own publicity campaigns. So it's just a real honor to be part of this. And I'm thankful to you, Michelle. You're doing a great job. And Clayton's press kit is incredible. I hope everybody takes time to look at it. It's really fabulous.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for the accolade. And it occurs to me that I need to dip into your association services personally. Now that my memoir is finished, I thought, gosh, Stephanie probably has a few things too, a few resources for me I should look into. So word to the wise, if you're seeing this and you need help, the association, and I'll take my own advice on that one. Kristen, would you like to say a few words before we're going to do another breakout session so people can practice their pitch, and then we're going to reveal the press kit? Kristen?
I'll just say hi, but I want to leave all the airtime for you guys for breakouts and just to hear what's going on and see this whole process. So hi, everybody.
Thanks, Kristen.
Yes, take advantage of the nonfiction author stuff. Their breadth and depth is spectacular. So to you, Michelle, and everybody else. Okay, I'm out.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I'm saying about having a beginner's mind. We go through life and sometimes we don't see that gorilla that's standing right in front of us, right? And you're like, move over, I'm trying to get something done, right? And then you're like, my gosh, I'm doing this every Friday with you all. I should probably look at some different services for myself. So I too need to have a beginner's mind. We're going to reveal the press kit after this next break. What you're doing on the next breakout is practicing your pitch like Clayton just did. And I see the comments coming in the chat. As Stephanie was talking, I could see that people were also like giving Clayton feedback on, making it very short and succinct. So that's really the focus of this next breakout session, is to pitch inside 20 to 45 seconds. That's really, inside our instant world because of the internet and social media. That's really the time span that people have to see if what you have to say connects with what they're doing. And then you can coach each other. So we'll just have a few minutes of that, and then we'll get right into the nitty gritty of the press kit. So one more breakout session. What you did was practice your pitch. And so I'm sure that you feel like you either felt like you nailed it, or you feel like, I need a little more work. And a few things that we talked about in our breakout session, should you include your subtitle? Should you include your website address? Should you include, the written bio versus the spoken bio? Like those kinds of things. You want to make sure that it's easy and that it's understandable. And I was giving Loretta and Linda the tidbit. When you're wanting to practice a pitch, practice with a fifth grader. A fifth grader is old enough to be able to have a conversation with you, yet young enough to not be thwarted by adult socialization filters. So they're going to tell you whether they're like, I don't understand what you just said, or, ooh, that's exciting, or, ooh, I don't like that at all. They'll play Oprah with you. So that's a quick tidbit, if you don't have a fifth grader in your life and you just need another buddy, Hannah at wasabipublicity.com, and she can either be your direct buddy and receive your pitch or get you the resources so that your pitch is solid and sharp. So let's do the big reveal. Okay, so let's see. I guess we need to have music or something. We can have the team put that in later, right? Like a drum roll or something exciting like that. That'll be fun for Aeneas to edit in later, right? Okay, here it is. So the team this past week went over the actual content to make sure that Kristen, Stephanie, and Clayton are happy with what it says. And so you see here on the front page, if you want to actually go to his press kit, you can do claytonmoore.onlinepresskit247.com. This is on the proprietary technology that my business partner, Drew Gerber, developed here at Wasabi Publicity. So if you're interested in that using this technology, again, Hannah can help you with that. You can also use your website or PDF, or there's lots of different ways to get this material together. We love our technology because it's easy, and I can actually work with that flowing nature of the conversation. We might come in here while we're pitching, and then I might need to change something because we find that there's something offensive or something that I need to change, and you want to be able to do that. So here we have all about Clayton. The purpose of this right here is really so that does the press person, journalist, producer, do they get it in a heartbeat? You don't want them to really have to struggle to get what it's all about. You want them to, oh, look at these bios. They're so easy. Okay. Oh yeah, here, I'll just, I'll copy this and then we'll use this in his interview. Oh, great. Here are images. Oh, look, they've even put together questions. You know, what is inner bias and how can we identify and acknowledge it ourselves? These questions can change. You just want to actually provide the press some quick questions that to get them thinking about what you want to answer. You can see here on number 4, tell us a little bit about your experience with bias, prejudice, and racial injustice as the first African-American officer on the Fostoria police force. This is going to go back to the end of Clayton's book that actually has topics that he might actually deliver in training as he's working as a speaker or a trainer. Then you've got the news and story ideas. When you're working with a particular journalist, they have to actually go to their bosses and pitch an idea. So if they're a writer, they're going, like for a magazine, they're going to go to the editor or the editorial team and say, I've got a great idea. How about, we do something on cultural awareness. I've got a guy, his name is Clayton Moore. He's a retired police officer who wrote a book, Good Cop, Black Cop, Guilty Until Proven Innocent. And he says that we need more cultural diversity training to really understand discrimination. And they'll just take it right here. Discrimination in the criminal justice system. It is real, it's happening, and we've got to quit trying to skate over it. So they might actually take this pitch and then actually go to their boss and say, hey, I want to do this. So then you've got also other ideas like unpacking inner bias, defund the police. This is very hot and trending. You may feel like you don't have as hot in a trending item as Clayton does, but you can still do news and story ideas in an evergreen fashion. I like to have these mostly evergreen, and evergreen means any time of the year. And so I actually have a blog entry about that this week at Wasabi Publicity, and you can go to storytellertothemedia.com, and that's going to take you right to my blog. If you are looking at this later and it doesn't cue you right up to the one, you want to look for Evergreen News Story Formula. And that was, that'll be in the blog here. It's also in the book. And so one of the things that I talk about in this to help you understand evergreen news and story ideas, there's a formula here. And so what I talked about in the blog this week is how to make your expertise and sound bites relevant all year. Okay. This is found on pages 81, 82, and 83 of the workbook. And the formula is pretty easy. You write one sentence on a societal problem or issue. If you don't want to do one that's trending like Black Lives Matter, just make it evergreen. You can just do any type of issue that's affecting humans. Write one sentence to establish yourself as an expert or a credible source. Then write one sentence that is an overview of your unique offering. And then put the three sentences together. So you have problem sentence, then you have your expert sentence, and then what you offer. So for the example that I give here is a local fitness trainer. So number one, this let me get this back so you can see it all together. Okay. The societal problem. People have gained weight in the pandemic. We're doing a local fitness trainer as an example. Number two, the establishing credibility. I am a certified personal trainer. Number three, I coach clients on how to lower inflammation in their system through low intensity exercise and plant-based meals. Then this is your pitch, right? You're just putting it all together. Dear media friend, let's face it, people have gained weight in the pandemic. I'm a personal trainer who can coach your viewers, listeners, readers on how to lower inflammation in their system through low intensity exercise and plant-based meals. If you'd like to interview me, I'm available at this time, or contact me at this email, or here are my after hours cell phone. I'm especially available in the early mornings if you need a guest or cooking demo or a recipe for your morning news cycle. I look forward to hearing from you. There's a few things that I did in here that, because I'm targeting people who may need a segment in the morning. So that's why I put that morning news cycle. Also, you do want to say, you don't want to just say viewers, listeners, or readers, because that's like a tell. It's like showing your card that you're pitching more than one person. You want to personalize it to that person as much as possible. You know, so it might go, let's face it, people have gained weight. I'm a personal trainer who can coach Tamron Hall, your viewers, on how to lower inflammation, blah, blah, blah. Or can coach your viewers, Dr. Oz, on da, 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 da. Okay. So there's that. Now going back to these news and story ideas, these are more around something that's trending. But typically when we do the news and story ideas here at Wasabi Publicity, I tell my writers to focus on evergreen here. Okay. Then the last piece is the contact. Very important that wherever the media is contacting, that they actually answer the phone. You don't want to put information because it's a 24-hour news cycle and they just don't wait. So you need somebody who's going to answer it within a 24-hour time frame. Now we'd add a little more here. So the one-pagers are just things that you can print off and actually show. So let's see if this comes up. I didn't test this beforehand. Hopefully this works. I'm having issues with, there it is. Okay. So here we have the story ideas put in short over here. It's basically the same information that's on the press kit, but the person that's receiving it can print it out. And it has the online press kit and the public website. And this is, you know, in a typical setting where they're meeting around a table, these are nice because they have that. Now, another thing that I like, let's see, when you go, so this is for like magazine editorial boards and things of that nature, but I also like to provide a similar thing for radio or podcast. They're going to have a broadcast nature. They're not necessarily going to read Clayton's book. You know, he can still be interviewed by somebody who hasn't read his book, and it's not a problem for people that they don't want to read your book. Okay, don't make them wrong about that. People read a book when they want to invest 8 to 10 hours of their life in your life. So here, Good Cop, Black Cop, it gives them a cheat sheet of who he is so they can quickly interview him. So if I just got something like this, and let's say I've never met Clayton, I could just read this intro on my podcast. I could pick one of these and promote that. And then I could ask him these questions and just go. This alone, this type of format can get you booked because they love that. They love that. Okay. So you'll see that on as an example, and you can do that yourself. So let me just pause and see, Clayton, reactions from you on what you think about all that. I'm just curious what you think. So let's unmute Clayton.
I got it. Okay. Yeah. When you're talking about what they love about those questions and everything, is that because you're basically kind of doing the work for them?
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, and when I saw that, I was kind of blown away. I was blown away by the whole press kit. I was like, I mean, I was around here all crazy and everything, but I was excited for today and still, nervous and everything. But like I said, it's still overwhelming to me. I love it. I'm just kind of like blown away by everything. This looks so professional, and there's so much to this that I just don't know, and this is just out my field of expertise. So I'm just learning. There's so much I'm learning. And then I know there's so much that I don't know that I would love to learn as well. But this is awesome.
You're so refreshing, Clayton. Thank you for your honesty.
Mm-hmm.
And let's pierce in a little bit about the don't know. And that's why I like having a beginner's mind and coming to this, right? Because it's going to then help everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's go to the home page. And so let's talk about each page and the why of each page. Okay. So why do you think we need a summary of like who you are in a heartbeat? Why is that necessary?
Well, it gives them an idea, and an idea of, what to expect, and just kind of, what is it all about?
Yeah. Can you let's just put ourselves in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. They're receiving, so many pitches. Just to put it in perspective, one of my contacts over at Good Morning America. Now this is not even now. This was, years ago, where she was getting 500 pitches an hour. Mm-hmm. Right. So you're not going to read every single email. You're going to actually deal with that like you do a Twitter feed. You're going to deal with that in headlines. So that's why it's important so that you have the information really organized in headlines succinctly so that they can quickly categorize you and then see if it's something that's part of their beat, which means what they are assigned to cover. Okay. So that's what really so the homepage is to grab their attention and then to communicate why should we even be thinking about Clayton's book and Clayton's expertise. Okay.
Okay.
Then let's actually talk about the other pages. So let me go back to showing the screen here. So this is, like our Oprah pitch on the plane. This is so they can get an idea of who you are in a heartbeat. Boom. I got it. Okay. I can use Clayton that way. Got it. Now, the bios here, you want to control and make this short so they don't edit it for you.
Right.
If this is succinct enough, they'll just take it as is. They don't want to edit it down any further. They want to know what you say in a very pithy manner. Okay. This is remember last week we talked about this. This is for written and this is for speaking. Okay. This would be more like a magazine interview. And then this would be more like a podcast or radio or TV. Now the full bio just gives the entire expertise so that they can see, what's not in here, then, I see that you have a BA in communications. Awesome. Images. Now you can do more images than we have. Clayton's just starting out. So these are the images that he has for us. But we represent the Humane Society of Silicon Valley and I'll just show you theirs. They just have a lot. Okay. They just have a lot. And the press love this because you can see, especially like in a pandemic world, if they can just come in here and grab a fun photo and then tell a story and credit it back to you, that's awesome. That saves them time, right? And some of these pictures are just, they want to run the photo because they're trying to run content that's interesting for their readers or their viewers or their listeners. Even radio has images on the internet about their shows and whatnot. So these are called assets. Okay, so that's really what the purpose of this page is. So, and it's okay as you, right now, you're starting out, Clayton, you have 2 photos. I want you to think about when you do speaking engagements, when you're actually out and about at a school, you're working with fitness clients. Should you have somebody, a professional photographer or a friend who has experience and can actually take nice photos, should they actually record it for you? Should they record photos? Should they record video? Because that's something that you can then have ownership over. You own the copyright and you can feed that to the press.
Great.
Right. That's the purpose of this page. Now, some of you on in the session are going to have not only wonderful photos like this. Look how this is a great photo, right? You want high res, but the other piece that you're going to have is maybe video or B-roll. This is background video. That actually happened for Humane Society Silicon Valley yesterday. Cron in the Bay Area interviewed them, and they asked me for video that they could play in the background as they were interviewing one of their spokespeople. So be thinking about other visual elements. These are your assets that you can give the press to cover you. And then the why of this is really time saving for the press. Top tier press are going to look at this and say, I don't need that. Are you kidding me? I know I'm a journalist. I'm going to write my own questions. They're going to find this insulting. But the, other people are like, oh my God, look at this. This is amazing. You've done these suggested questions. You never want to set up that they have to ask you this. And then these are your evergreen. The reason for this is like, well, why am I covering Clayton now? Why am I covering this author, this expert now? What can I actually, what difference is this person making to what I'm writing about that I can include them? And then of course, this page is how to contact you. It's important for some of my pitches, I'll put where the people live. So like Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York. If you're living in those areas, bully for you, you better say that because you can actually go in studio easily. Now, Clayton's in Ohio. I used to live in Cincinnati, and I drove around all of Ohio. And the thing about that area of the country in the Midwest, it actually has its fingers in a lot of broadcast TV. I don't know if you know that, Clayton.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Did you know that, do you remember Donahue? Now, this is really dating me. Okay. So if you don't know who Donahue is, you can just, turn us off for a minute and then come back and not tell us about how your skin looks so amazing. Okay. Do you know who Donahue is, Clayton?
Am I like Phil Donahue?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So Donahue had a talk show before Oprah, everybody. Okay. Remember Sally Jesse Raphael and other? Mm-hmm. Okay. Donahue actually was started by Scripps in Cincinnati.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you never really know who's got their fingers behind, especially in today's Netflix world. And we've got all these streaming services. You never know who knows who. Okay. Right. Remember, it's not just who you know, it's who knows about you. Mm-hmm. An old soundbite of mine. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when you're speaking to people, just let them know who you are, and you never know when things come together. And I like to have a beginner's mind with every conversation, by the way, because sometimes the most powerful people on the planet are very humble and they don't let you know how much power they actually have. Okay. So it's just a matter of just being you, speaking succinctly about who you are and what you have to offer the world. And when you are speaking to press people in particular, it's actually fitting inside, oh, I've got this great press kit and I can show you the news and story ideas and how you can use me. All right, questions about that. So Clayton, anything for you? And then first Stephanie and Kristen, and then we'll open it up just to see if there's a quick question. I want to get to some other content.
Yeah. Like how long does it really take to establish, like, obviously I'm going to be working on my pitch, and will it be like the same pitch all the time, or will it vary, or is that something, Will my pitch be the same for radio or for TV or for, podcasts or anything like that? Or
You can combine them, and we will for you. And if you're doing a one-off personalized pitch, I would personalize it that way as well, right? So that you're saying viewers or listeners.
Okay.
But, for us, we're going to try to get you seated, and that's SEED. So we're going to be using our technology to pitch you. So we do what I like to call a fishing net. So we take the one pitch that you've already approved, and then we're going to send that to TV, radio, print. And then that's going to be a list of about 3,000. Then we're going to look, we have technology where I can actually see who's opening, who's clicking on links, who's looking at your press kit, that kind of thing. So then I'm going to narrow that list to about 50 to 75. And then we're going to call them, or we're going to connect with them on social media. And we're going to, it's just like a sales process, right? You start with this universe, bring it down to the hot leads, the leads from downtown, as Glenn Ross fans would know, right? The good leads. And then we're going to actually then close the interviews. Now, the process will vary because the timing, it's about the right message to the right people at the right time. And the message will shift. We actually got some really great breaking news for you this week. Thank you. Katie sent something to me and some others. I would have moved on that breaking news because they saw some stuff related to politics for you, but I wanted to have the press kit be finished, before we actually did that. Now, if you're finding that that what I'm talking about with the technology is overwhelming to you, please do not get overwhelmed. We can really make it simple for you, and that's why Hannah is here. So you just email Hannah. The point is that I want to make it easy and accessible for everybody, all you difference makers here, to feel confident to reach out to the press, right? The bottom line is it's just a conversation. It's just like a conversation between me and Clayton. You're just now having a conversation with somebody who's in your local press or national or regional. So the bottom line is you just pick up the phone and call them or send them an email. And then this is the link you want to send them to, just, here's an idea. And then you've got a quick link to send them back to your press materials. However you house that on the internet, we just happen to use this. Now, Stephanie and Kristen, do you have questions too? Stephanie, let's unmute Stephanie.
There we go. Okay, hi. So I know our next call isn't until February 12th, and we're going to do some media training there. I guess my concern is pitching Clayton before he's had media training, because even myself, my early media pitches before I was formally trained were, I fumbled through those. So I would really very much like to see him get some training before we actually throw him out to the wolves.
Noted. He's going to be fine. Okay, I got it. Yeah. So we're in the series. It is true, given the news cycle, that we might score for Clayton before we do that whole process that you're looking at. Everybody's looking forward to. Okay. It is possible that I just get on the phone and get Clayton ready for a particular interview, and that's not recorded for everybody. But I'll address that in the bonus press opportunity that I'm going to talk about at the end.
Cool. Thank you.
Okay, good. And remember, the book has a whole section. So start reading in the back of the book, Clayton. The third section of the whole is how to be great in a media interview. Okay. So that's everybody's homework for next time. Kristen, anything for you?
Not a question, but in case people aren't following the chat, I just wanted to say, remember that you can't necessarily just put up any pictures. You need to maybe talk to an attorney about rights of publicity, because the images that you use for your business of someone else, you could be violating their rights. So just something to be aware of, to look into that.
You must own the copyright to that photo or have written permission from the photographer of those assets. I had a guy, thank you so much, Kristen. That's a very important point. I had a client who gave me a photo. It was of him running, and they said he owned the copyright. We put it on the press kit. Next thing you know, it's in USA Today. And I'm getting a phone call. Hey, this is not owned by your author. I'm like, what? So then I call the author, and the author's like, no, a local paper took that. So then I had to like do some fancy footwork because I didn't want the local paper to sue USA Today and then sue us. You see? So you want to make sure that you're following copyright laws. And when you take a photo, that's yours. That's the easiest way, right? And when you're working with a photographer, what I do for me is we have a local photographer who just takes, pictures at weddings and of graduates, in the springtime when they're graduating school. And I just tell that photographer, I said, let me do a sitting. Let me pay you for the sitting and then give me the copyright because I'm using this for press use. And they'll just charge you, somewhere between like $300 to $500 a sitting for a few hours for them to take photos of you. And then they'll give you the copyright. Now, some photographers will say, I'm not going to do that. I want to charge you by print. I don't work with them. That doesn't work for what we're doing with PR. You want to own the copyright when possible. Okay, now let's go ahead to any like burning questions that you have, please put in the chat. And I am going to read the chat after the call. I like to do that. And I just want to underscore the power of the people in this series. I'm not taking it lightly. And that's why I was like, what else can we do here? And I was like, oh yes, I can combine it with what I'm doing. And we're going to talk about that at the end. The bottom line is with press kits is you're making the press's job easier. Mm-hmm. Okay. So the point of all of this is that you're just getting your ducks in a row. That's it. That's all you're doing here. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and I want to share you something about his pitch. So I'm just going to log in. So this serves as like a Dropbox for us with our team. Okay. And so this is the inside of our proprietary stuff, right? So I just want to show you. So we've got all the stuff here, our one pagers and so forth, our meeting notes and whatnot. We can do articles inside here. And then Clayton, as we start to work your campaign, this will start to fill out. We'll have notes about what's actually happening, the pitches and who we're interacting with and so forth in here.
Okay.
That's kind of exciting, right? And the thing that's really great is like when I'm working a campaign, I can quickly change this. Whatever platform you're using, you want to be able to have it malleable so that you can change it based on news cycle needs. I can't stress that enough. A lot of people kind of get crazy like, well, I don't know, should we put that in the press kit? Because it might change in a few months. Well, we hope it changes because we want you to be relevant with the press. And so we want that to be palatable. What I'll do is I'll actually take in my next blog. So next week, what you can count on is at storytellertothemedia.com. I will put in the pitch that we're using for Clayton so that you can actually see what we're doing, right? And I'll also share that again next session. And well, some people are going to be seeing this in a linear fashion. Some people are going to be seeing the series other ways, right? So if you're, let me just hold on just a second. Hannah, I would also like to maybe get the sample from our writer and then maybe put that in our follow-up notes, maybe with this video too, just so that I think it's important for them to see the actual pitch too. Okay, and we'll also do that next session. I think it's important that you actually see what we're saying. Okay. Now let's go ahead and talk about this opportunity. Well, first of all, is there just a comment, or I'll tell you what, let's do a breakout session on what you just learned, because that was a lot of didactic information coming at you. And so let's just kind of take a break and let's just talk with each other, talk with your group about your press materials and what you might need. Okay. And then when we come back, if there's a burning question from anyone, we'll address that. And then we'll do the final opportunity. that I'm going to give you today, and then we'll close. Okay. So let's just go ahead and do a quick breakout. So while we're waiting for people to actually come back from the breakout session, I'm going to go ahead and just start sharing the pitch. So I found Clayton's pitch, and with his permission, I'm going to share it. So here it is, you all. Okay. So we're going to start with, now it's going to be fluid based on the day that I'm pitching, who I'm pitching. I'm just going to change it some, but I just want to show you I want to highlight some of the pitches. Culture, defund the police, advocating refunding. Just like a little twist on the word itself, right? So then we have right into who you can use. Would you like powerful insights on defund the police from a retired African-American police sergeant who was the first Black officer in his small town? Boom. You got the whole story. What his expertise is going to be like. But you just put it right there in the front, make it nice and short. I have Clayton Moore, author of this brand new book. This links back to his book. Read on. Tie-in possibilities. So we have Martin Luther King. We have Civil Rights Day, Black History Month, Zero Discrimination Day, Week of Solidarity with peoples struggling against racism and discrimination. This is how we get long and short lead accomplished when we're doing one, right? So some people are going to be working now, some people are going to be working later. Regardless, we're looking at what's in the inbox of that journalist so that when they search for defund the police or something related, Black Lives Matter, we want to make sure that it's actually in there, right? Black History Month, Martin Luther King, it's going to be coming up, okay? As a matter of fact, one thing that's actually missing that I'm seeing this now, Hannah, please send a note to Haley. We want the words Black Lives Matter in here so that it actually comes up, and that's one thing that I'm seeing here is missing, okay? But you can see here, then we get into a little bit about what he would talk about. It comes back to parts of the highlights of what he would be talking about in the back of the book, in his training, in his speaking gigs, in his interviews. And then you can go to the press kit, and then who's actually going to be coordinating it and how they can reach. And like we even have like the time zone. And then we actually do the bio one more time down here. Okay. So that's just gives you the same type of format on the press release. So we do a pitch and a press release. They are different. It's like the difference between a flyer about a party and an actual card that you're giving somebody to a party. This is the flyer. The pitch is the card. So you're going to contact information for immediate release, nice headline that's capturing people. We're going to do a block quote here. And then we've got, we go right into the whole story in one paragraph. Then you usually do, we put our links up top, we got a quote, and then our boilerplate at the bottom. So very easy to do. I've got lots of how-to in the book about that, but that's kind of what we're doing for Clayton. Now, your press opportunity. So I've got a column I was talking to Ariana Huffington's sister, Agapi Stephanopoulos. And she connected me with the editor over at thriveglobal.com, and I've got a column, and it's a brand new column, and it's about making a difference. And so what I'd like to do is actually interview people that I'm going to put it up on my YouTube channel. So I'm going to interview, it's going to be about 10 minutes. So if you're interested in this, you can email Hannah at wasabipublicity.com, or I'm going to send you the my scheduler. You can even bypass her and just get right into the interview with me in my calendar. These are just for the program participants, okay? So don't give this to somebody else, okay? That's my scheduler. Now, what you're scheduling there, it's not a PR consultation. It's not any of that. We're going to get out on the phone, and I'm going to interview you. So come camera ready, and I'm going to interview you about your book and how you make a difference in the world, okay? So that, and I'm going to put that on YouTube. Then that is going to become a column at Thrive Global. And I'm going to ask you to also do a Q&A. So a lot of journalists today will just give you a set of questions that you then answer, and you got to send it back ready to go, ready to print, like proved, edited, ready to go, polished. And that's what I'm going to ask you to do. And then you'll have a video asset that you can point to with me. in 2 places, a print and a video asset. How about that, huh? I figured out how to give you all something special. I was like so excited about that. And it's part of so one of my clients, Ken Honda, he's from Japan, and then out of Hollywood, Nikki Shadrow, and Gary, who produces Give, the show Give on Oprah Winfrey Network. We're doing a new movement called Givefluencers. And so living is giving. And so what we're actually doing is just giving back. And so part of what we're committed to at Wasabi Publicity is that the world shift from needing more marketing, which is what marketing is predicated on right now, to what if we all had enough and we switch it so that we're actually talking about enough marketing. Like I have enough and I have so much that I'm giving away. I'm giving back to the community because I'm so taken care of. I have a house, I have a roof over my head. I have money in the bank. I have food on the table. I'm taken care of and I want to give back. What if everybody on the planet did that? So in the spirit of Givefluencers, my client Ken Honda gives a coin, a little silver dollar coin. It's worth, for him, he's like, it's worth $40, $50, right? And he gives it to somebody in his community, like a restaurant who's feeding the hungry. And he says, here's some happy money. So here's some happy money. And I've been representing his book for a while. He's amazing, right? So here's some happy money. I want to acknowledge you for a job well done. I acknowledge that you are doing good in the world. And I want to give you some happy money. And it gives you a feeling of happiness. It gives the person acknowledgement that you're actually doing something for. And then we're like actually giving good in the world. So that's really at the heart of what hashtag Givefluencers is all about. It's launching today. So I'd like to have you all be part of that inside this series. Okay. Now, if all of a sudden we have, a ton of interest and all of you want to do it, we'll schedule you in over the next quarter. I will get all of you in. Okay. So that's an opportunity. And I hope to see you in February. Hopefully we'll have some really great interviews for Clayton to then talk about. And, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'll hold your hand. Don't worry, Stephanie. We will hold his hand. Okay. Don't worry about that. Until next time, everybody. Good luck. And I'm rooting for you. I'm your cheerleader. Okay. Bye.